What is going on, everybody? Good Friday evening here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Facebook page and Wrestle Binge by Sportskeeda YouTube channel. Rick Ucchino, SP3, Dutch Mantel, not with us tonight. That man has had an extraordinarily rough couple of weeks. Back-to-back hurricanes will do that to you. It's part of the reason why we haven't been on, I think, since September 20th. SP3, I think was the last time we did a live show here on a Friday night. So with Dutch unavailable still, and we wish him all the best, we are going to the bullpen. We're bringing in the righty, now pitching, the wrestling legend himself, Bill Apter. Bill, thank you so much for joining us.
Great. By the way, I don't smoke cigars like Dutch does. I eat Tic Tacs.
Oh, okay.
Good adventure. And
you.
as Teddy Long on our Time Machine show says, he thinks it's Tic Crack, but it's not. It's Tic Tacs.
Okay.
But this is what keeps me going all these years: Tic Tacs and sparkling ice.
Oh man, Bill just hiding in plain sight. He's just getting lit on
nice duo. I'm ready to go now. Just took my pills.
All right, let's rock and roll. We appreciate everybody who is joining us here this fine Friday evening. Don't forget to get your comments in, get your super chats in. Those are the guaranteed ways to get your comments read on the air as we dive into tonight's show. And we open up, boy, oh boy, we open up with them showcasing that ugly ass Crown Jewel Championship in its own traveling case like it's the Stanley Cup. We had Cody Rhodes in the ring tonight trying to put this thing over.
It's more impressive than the Stanley Cup.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Are you kidding me? Do you like green?
Is
green your favorite color?
Pro wrestling.
Are we starting with this? This thing is a 24/7 title on crack. That's the second crack reference in 2
I don't know. I don't know.
Anywho, we'll dive into this because Cody did his absolute best tonight to try to get that championship over. We'll try. We'll dive into that once the time comes. But we get a recap of the Uso saga, and then we get Solo Sikoa making his way down to the ring. Bloodline in tow. Solo, he's there. He wants Roman Reigns to acknowledge him by the end of the evening, and before that man can get another word out, we get Jey Uso, a surprise appearance of this man coming down to the ring. And SP3, the crowd reactions he gets and the entrance that he does, like, it honestly doesn't cease to amaze me at this point. Like, it's incredible to see where this man has gotten in his career, coming out of, SummerSlam last year where he lost the WWE Championship match, and it's like, okay, where the hell do we go from here? Well, where we've gone is, holy shit, he's on a whole nother level right now.
Yeah, I really felt like he really kind of was saying a lot saying a lot without saying a lot because of the entrance and how over he was, him having the Intercontinental Championship, him telling like he left the bloodline and see what's happened to him. Instead of splitting up the family, you should just be out. This was a great segment. I think this was one of Jey Uso's best promo performances since he left the bloodline, and just the interacting of these characters was very compelling to kick off the show.
Yeah, it wasn't, Bill, there was actually some meaning to it. There was some story to it. It wasn't any crowd pandering. It wasn't yeet every other word. There was some actual tangible meaning behind what he was saying tonight, and he's interjecting himself well back into the bloodline storyline.
He seemed extremely sincere that he wanted to mend fences somehow and put the original bloodline back together again, but that's not what the storyline is. But what you were talking about a minute ago with the way the fans react to him, and when you look at where he came from, I mean, he was not someone that as an individual wrestler had caught fire, and then all of a sudden something happened, and now he's totally on fire. It's great. Hopefully, if they bring he and his brother back together again, it's not going to cause him to lose the championship and go back into the tag team division, because I think he's a finer single wrestler than to stick him in the tag team again.
I hate to say that. I think he's dropping that belt on Monday.
I do too.
I think
I thought this segment confirmed that to me.
This is look. I love the fact that they put the title on him because he deserved it. They gave him a successful title defense over Xavier Woods already, so at least it's not a I lost it and they didn't Zack Ryder him, right? They've let him kind of carry it around for a little bit. They even dressed it up a little bit more, added a pop of color in there, made it look closer to the belt that Rikishi held back in the day. So I like what they have done with him. He deserved that moment, but using this as kind of like a catalyst to fully get him back on board, because SP3, he's obviously very conflicted. He still loves his brother, even after everything that they've gone through. He wants to help out his brother. He wants to be on good terms with his brother, but this man has not forgiven Roman Reigns yet. And even when Roman Reigns like finally tried to give him a little something by just saying, hey, I'm proud of you. And this was a backstage segment later for those who missed the show. This was after this opening segment. We come back from commercial. There is a backstage segment where Jey walks past Roman and Jimmy as they've arrived. And Roman says, hey, I'm proud of you. The entire family is proud of you. Yeah. And after that, Jey was just, I'm like, oh, damn, that hit. That's powerful. And then Jey flipped him the bird, basically, and said no. Yeah. But that was a nice segment tonight. Obviously,
yeah, very well done. Very well done. And you could tell that Jey, once again, just sincerely just didn't want any part of them. I mean, it was just, but we know it's got to happen down the line. It's got to happen. And, my feeling is that we're going to have a complete bloodline war probably at Survivor Series.
That would be that's the assumption, right? And
that's where I think they're going with this.
Roman and Jimmy are back together. If the bloodline ends up caught, not that Braun Breaker needs the bloodline's help to win the Intercontinental Championship, but if they inject themselves into, that's why I was kind of hoping Jey would show up at the end tonight to really kind of solidify and set everything in motion, because Jey didn't really do anything for me tonight that would necessitate Solo sending in somebody to send a message.
Yeah, he did. He didn't acknowledge him. He asked him to acknowledge him, and he didn't do that. And you saw what the consequences was for Roman when he didn't want to acknowledge him as the tribal chief. And Jey did not acknowledge him. He was like, "You need to stop calling me little bro," because he kept calling him.
He hated that.
He hated that. And you could tell in his face, because he even was giving kind of Jey some grace when he came out. Like when he gets to the apron and Jey starts staring down with Solo. Solo's like, "Go ahead, do your little yeet thing." He's like, "Do your little yeet thing," and he lets him do that and everything. He even holds back Jacob Fatu when he calls out Jacob Fatu. Like, if this guy keeps staring at me like that. And I love this promo because it blended a little bit of the real life story with the storyline. Because if you know the real life story, you know that there is that history within this whole Samoan family that, the Tongans weren't really accepted into like the Anawai family part of it. It really took The Rock extending the olive branch, talking about how Haku
did you
was
notice,
like an uncle to him.
Did you notice that Roman talked about that he promised his father, Sika, there, that he would get the family back together again? That's the first time he has acknowledged something about his father's death since this happened a while ago. Yeah, it was very powerful.
Yeah, they know when to hit the right buttons with this bloodline story, because there's so much history and truth that they can just dive into at any point in time. But SP3, the one thing that you brought up that I thought was the best part of this, and the crowd popped for it, obviously, was when he turned to Jacob and said, "If you don't quit staring at me, I'm gonna whoop your ass." Now all they have to do on Monday is send Jacob in, and Jacob super kicks Jey, ref's back turn, ref bump, whatever it is, super kick, spear, it's over, and then Jacob hits him with the moonsault after he drops the Intercontinental Championship on Monday, and then boom, Jey is back in the fold. The question is, how we get the honorary Uso back into the fold, because I don't know. Sami Zayn's going through his own personal stuff right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how they suck him back into.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to be in Philadelphia on Monday, so I'm going to make sure that everything is tight.
All right. Well, you make sure to talk to him on that.
I will take care of it.
All right. You handle business. You handle business. So again, we had a lot of Bloodline segments that were kind of mixed throughout the night tonight. There was a great backstage segment. I missed these, SP3. The backstage Bloodline segments with Roman on the couch.
Felt like 2022 already. I was like, this feels like 2022. We got the opening segment. We had the Jimmy, and Roman when they showed up listening to Travis Scott as Roman got an exclusive cut of a new Travis Scott song. Then they did the segment in the locker room where Jimmy was trying to be the wise man, being up and did a jump scare to Roman because Roman didn't expect him to be there. But I think how it's laid out is that you could do the slow burn where Jey is basically an enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing, where he doesn't really trust Jimmy and Roman, but he needs to align with them to fight back against the Bloodline. But that's still not enough. Either the four that we have with the Tongans, Jacob Fatu, and Solo are enough to take control against the OG Bloodline, or they get the assistance of another person who's been in the waiting in Hikuleo, and he comes in and gives them even more of a numbers advantage. And then it has to be Jimmy who's been saying, we need help to Roman, we need help. Getting Jey is one thing, but we need more help. And that's when the honorary Uso comes in.
Do you realize that this has been going on for how many years now, with the Bloodline being the main storyline at SmackDown? It's amazing. As the Paul Heyman had said, they were not even at third base yet. So
third inning is what they said. Third inning after WrestleMania 39. They're gonna keep rolling.
Amazing.
Sooner or later, The Rock's going to interject himself at this at some point.
You saw
what he did in Bad Blood. He pointed all three of those men in the ring. And
do you know that I'm an honorary Samoan? That The Rock's mother gave me the name Apta.
I did not.
Did you know that? APTAH. I am an honorary Samoan.
How about that?
I go way back with that family, back to the early 70s when I first met Afa and Sika in Toronto, when they were the Islanders there. I go very, very way back with them. And, all through the years, they kept talking about family and how important their family is. And the way it has steamrolled is just amazing since then.
Do you know where SP3 and I were in the early 70s?
In the womb, or not even
not even in the womb,
not even ready yet.
I don't even think my parents have been married yet. Anywho, so regardless, sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but we end up in that backstage segment where Roman says, "Hey, I'm going to end this tonight. We got blown off by Jey. I'm going to end this tonight by acknowledging Solo Sikoa," which at the end of the night, he did. To his credit, he did get in the ring. He did acknowledge Solo Sikoa. But Solo was like, nah, that ain't good enough. You need to acknowledge me as the tribal chief, which Roman Reigns did not do. Solo threatens him, gives him you need to do it or else. And then Roman just goes off at this point. And this is where it, to me anyway, and I know Solo is more soft-spoken and he talks in a more, sinister dialogue and doesn't let his emotions really come out in his promos the way that Roman does. Roman's kind of more all over the place with his emotional outbursts. But man, when you get Roman in the ring saying, "Acknowledge me," and then he starts shouting down at Solo and Solo still kind of stays at that bottom level, it really makes me want to see Solo kind of start exploring that a little bit more, because Roman just, in my opinion, overshadows that man when they're on the microphone together.
I will just say I enjoy Solo Sikoa because Jey said it, that he's the little brother, and that's how he came off as. He came off as a little brother who the parents put in charge because the older brother is on punishment. and he can't be in charge of the house while they're out. Like the way he talked, the way he was antagonizing to both Jey and then Roman later on in the show, he very much has that little brother persona where he's overcompensating for this, for he's not supposed to be in this position, but he is, and he wants everybody to make sure that they know that he's the one in charge. So I like the way he came off. I think his character work is on point. I understand the delivery might not be there for everybody, but I think the character is perfect, and he's getting across it very well, and he's getting the heat for it as well.
Yeah, very, very true. Solo knew Roman wasn't going to do it, so obviously very noticeable that he came out for the main event segment by himself. That's because his boys were beating the hell out of Big Jim. They drag out Big Jim, and then they leave Roman Reigns laying in the middle of the ring. Were you guys expecting Jey Uso to come out at the end, or did you figure this was going to be another bloodline?
Oh, I did. I was, maybe it was too telegraphed that we all think that he was going to come out, and he didn't, obviously. But I was waiting for the yeet pop to happen.
At some
point, I think I understand the science of Triple H booking, so I knew Jey wasn't going to come out because I was like, it's too soon. Triple H loves he loves to milk this one out because he knows the longer that he waits, the bigger the pop will be when Jey makes the save, or Roman and Jimmy make the save for Jey. When these three come together and they're making the save for one another, the pop is going to be huge. You don't want to give it all away in one night.
Keep this in mind. They now have another issue to play off of next week. Was why didn't you come out? Why didn't you?
He already told them. He didn't mess with them.
Yeah, but they could.
And they did show him leaving the arena. Not that matters.
Could have changed it up at this point. Yeah.
All right, our first match of the night, which came after this 16-minute opening segment, and then a commercial break, and then we went to guys. The SP3 and I were talking about this off air. The commercials were a lot tonight. Like the commercials were a lot. In this show, we got I know it's election season and everybody is running plus. I work at a radio station. We're running plus right now. Local advertising. I get it. But after that opening 18-minute segment before they cut to the first commercial break, it felt like every 3 minutes they were taking a commercial tonight. And it kind of took me out.
And I don't know if you get the same commercials that I do, but I don't even know what the commercial is selling anymore. There's one that's so annoying with woo, and like three or four times during the night that somebody sounds like Ric Flair. Then there's liberty.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Insurance commercials.
I literally was having I pulled out my stopwatch. I was telling Rick off air. I was pulling out my stopwatch. I was like, we literally had a 2 segments where it was, you did the Roman, Jimmy, and Jey segment, which was about 2-3 minutes. Then they did a backstage segment with Nia, Nick Aldis, and Candice LeRae to set up the tag team match, which was like 2 minutes long. Then they did the entrance for Piper Niven and went to a commercial. I was like, that was 6 minutes of airtime. And I went to a commercial. Then they did a 5-minute match and went to another commercial. I was like, so we're only getting 5 minutes at a time? What are we doing?
Yeah, like
pays the bills, guys.
Look at how many people had non-televised entrances tonight. Yeah. No, DIY won the opening contest. They were already in the ring by the time we came back from commercial break. Like the only team that got the entrance was what? The Street Profits heading into it, right? Like heading into the commercial break. Bailey did not get a televised entrance tonight. Neither did Candice LeRae.
Correct.
I mean, like there were a lot of people who I think the other tag team match, they had two of the teams that were already in the ring by the time we came back. At least you knew the Motor City Machine Guns were going to get an entrance tonight. But
now wait a minute. Now that you talked about the Motor City Machine Guns,
we'll get to them. We'll get to them. But yeah,
I want to talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. But our opening contest tonight was DIY Street Profits. Pretty Deadly. Nice to see Pretty Deadly back on TV and in the wrestling ring. I feel like it's been forever since we've seen him on SmackDown actually like wrestling. This is a triple threat match as we are determining new number 1 contenders for the WWE tag team titles. Winners of this triple threat and the triple threat match later will face next week. Winner will go on presumably at Crown Jewel to challenge the Bloodline for the tag team titles. This one was on fire from the get-go. SP3, DIY, and the Street Profits, they continue to have really, really great chemistry with one another. I thought Pretty Deadly mixed in well in this one, and I really thought it was a very well executed finish. I was very curious who was going to win this matchup. I had a feeling it was going to be DIY or the Street Profits. They both technically won the match because they both pinned a member of Pretty Deadly, which was, again, the sequence of the finish was very well timed. And I love this because they both got the pin, but only one brother one member of the team was legal. And I thought this made Jessica Carr look incredibly competent because usually the refs come off looking dumb as hell, and she was right on top of it in a confusing moment.
When she said who the winner was.
Yes, I wish they would have said that to the crowd because I think the crowd was still confused. But I digress. The way that they explained it, executed it, I thought you keep both DIY and the Street Profits SP3 with a little bit of momentum. You make Jessica look great, and this is a kind of finish that we don't necessarily get all the time. So I liked how they finished this matchup.
It was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was very well done, really very well timed, and you saw on the replay that none of the Street Profits saw the tag. So I thought that was really good.
Bill, what were your thoughts on the opening match?
No, I enjoyed it. It was a good mix for a lot of good action. Not confusing at all, but a lot of just really good in-ring action, and that's what we all watch for.
We moved on. We had the backstage segment with Roman and Jey, which we already talked about. Tiffany Stratton had the flu, and we had Nia Jax on the phone. Yeah, we had Nia Jax on the phone talking with Tiffany, wondering what the hell, why she couldn't work her way into South Carolina to do this tag match they were supposed to have. Nick Aldis says, "Don't worry, we're not going to cancel the match. We have a deep women's roster. We're going to find you a tag team partner. Enter Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell." And my goodness, Bill, they actually brought up the Speed Championship. They talked about these two. Has the Speed title outside of a promo for a match ever been mentioned? Period. End of story.
So. I don't think so. And
this
you probably had a lot of fans scratching their head and going like, "What is the Speed title?"
Yeah. I mean, those things get over 1 million hits on X though. Like they get a large audience for what they are. So I mean, but she just still didn't have the title. They could have put the title on TV, but I digress. It's a Twitter only thing, just like the Crown Jewel thing is going to be a Saudi Arabia thing only. So some things are only going to exist in certain circles. But they end up making this a tag team match for later on. So Candice LeRae will come in and be Nia's partner later. We got Lash Legend versus Piper Niven next. Fairly short match that allowed Lash to kind of show off her strength here, Bill.
Oh, yeah. I was very impressed with her. It was she and Piper Niven were excellent together, and she was able to showcase what she could do with an opponent like Piper Niven.
I thought this was a good bit of business, SP3. It gives Lash Legend I think maybe meaningful is a strong word, but it gives her a win during this cup of coffee here, right? That they're having, that Metaphor is having up on the main roster. It helps put layers into the women's tag team division at the same time, because you had Bianca and Jade who were watching from the crowd. You had Metaphor who are wanting to get another shot at the women's tag team titles. So do Chelsea and Piper Niven. They want to get in the mix as well, so they're not going anywhere. So I think it gives Lash a nice little win, gives her some credibility, allows her to showcase some stuff, and helps kind of build a little layer at a time in the women's tag team division. I thought this was smart booking for what it was, SP3.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Yeah, the finish got a big reaction too with Lash showing the strength with that like kind of like sideways gory bomb that she
Yeah.
hit on Piper Niven, showing her strength. And Lash Legend's one of the most improved wrestlers in all of NXT, and I really love the booking that they've been doing, where they've been telling a story with the women's tag team division over all 3 shows, with Metaphor costing Damage Control the tag team title match on Monday. You had the challenge for the tag team match between Metaphor and Damage Control on Tuesday's NXT. That's going to be on next week's show. And then you had last year picking up the win over Chelsea and Piper Niven. I think it's leading to like a 4-way women's tag team title matchup. And I hope that can get on the Crown Jewel card, because I don't see that tag team title getting on the Crown Jewel card. I'm sorry, Rick. I know Triple H booking. He's a 5-match guy. The tag team titles have no place on that.
You know, keep in mind now, when they bring someone like Lash into NXT, into SmackDown, there are a lot of fans who don't watch NXT, and now that makes them more curious. Wow, she's on NXT every week. Watch it. Yeah,
right. But
it's very healthy.
This is also something that they have been doing increasingly. When they think they have somebody, that they're getting ready to move, they will give them that cup of coffee. Braun Breaker had a couple of matches in a couple of months before he was moved up. Carmelo Hayes did the same thing. And this goes outside of the NXT appearances in the Royal Rumble. They'll actually bring these people up, give them a little bit of something to do just to kind of get their feet wet in the main roster. So obviously they are looking at Metaphor and bringing them up at some point here in the near future. But I do like the idea of the fatal 4-way. And this is why Jade and Bianca are the perfect team right now to have the women's tag team titles, because WWE is already invested in them to make sure that they are going to have TV time on whatever brand they need to be on. And they trust me, I talked to both of them. They want these things to be everywhere. And right now they are all over the place right now. We had Cody Rhodes come down to the ring to address Gunther. And they had that shiny green championship sitting in the ring.
Stanley Cup. No, go ahead.
They had a dude dressed in a tuxedo with white gloves standing next to the thing. They presented it exactly like the Stanley Cup. And speaking of white gloves, I use this famous Tommy Boy line on social media. I'll use it here. Cody Rhodes knows how to sell a story. He knows how to sell. He can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. Did he do his job to sell this Crown Jewel championship? I'll start with Bill.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you, for a person like me who is not a big sports fan, you talk about the Stanley Cup. To me, this Crown Jewel belt is the Crown Jewel belt. The Stanley Cup doesn't mean that much to me. I'm not a sports fan. I'm a wrestling person. Okay. So this is a big deal for me in terms of that. In terms of Cody Rhodes being a salesman, yes, absolutely. He could sell me the Brooklyn Bridge. He could. Yes, he would. He has become an excellent promo guy. He's very convincing. And, at the beginning, I think he was trying to be a lot like his daddy with his promos and stuff. And he's kind of come over that now and really come into his own sales approach. And he does it really, really well.
SP3, he shined a spotlight on history, obviously, right? Like, he really kind of sold this as kind of like a forbidden door type matchup, right? Like NWA versus WWF and WCW versus WWE and this kind of thing. Stop short of doing WWE AEW for obvious reasons, but I digress. Really kind of laid it on thick. And I'm just sitting here and I'm going, Cody, I commend you for trying. I really, really do. Yeah. But this was the battle of brand supremacy. They got moved to Saudi Arabia. Like, that's exactly what this is. I don't care how you spin it, my man. I don't care how you spin it. I feel like he's been given an impossible task, but I give him top marks for trying.
I thought it was hilarious how much Cody tried to sell us on this. And it literally, me listening to this promo was like it was like someone trying to sell morals to P. Diddy. Like, I was just like, nope.
That's a good one. I'm going to use that.
I was like, no. was like,
Yeah.
I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that.
That's their job right now, is to sell this. This is what they're supposed to be doing.
I was like, you can do all the sports washing you want to do for that paycheck, Cody. More power to you, but you ain't selling me on no crown jewel belt. I was like, how many murders did they have to commit to get that diamond for this title?
Oh, man, it's a tough sell. It's an absolutely tough sell. I give him all the credit. Look, man, I know Cody don't want to be up there trying to sell some new championship. I know his hands are tied on this one. I'm sure Triple H's hands are tied on this one. I'm sure I saw that man at the Bad Blood press conference. I heard the side comments he made about, I can't wait to read your comments online about this one. He knows that man's not dumb. They've made up shit before for these crown jewel pay-per-views. We've talked about it on this program before. This ain't no difference than the Takawaki Cup or whatever the hell the Undertaker won when he didn't even take off his hat and jacket and choke slammed AJ Styles. This is just the latest iteration of the greatest Royal Rumble belt that Braun Strowman won. We're not dumb, but damn it, I give him top marks for trying.
But if you're one of the fans that watch this and believe it, and there's a lot of people out there,
sure,
the younger group, this is like, oh my God, this is like, look at this belt, it's diamonds, it's more believability sales to the wrestling fans.
And here's the thing, all of this means absolutely nothing about how awesome this match is going to be. Cody, Gunther, crown jewel, sign me the hell up. I will be seated for when that happens, and I'm very intrigued to see how that match ends up getting finished, because Cody tonight promised a definitive winner in this one, and he invited Gunther. He invited Gunther to SmackDown next week, and we will get a face-to-face between those two gentlemen. No Kevin Owens showing up tonight, but they did air the promo package that Kevin Owens shot in his car. He did one of these earlier in the week, if you missed it on social media, where he was talking about, I was very, very mad and upset at the fact that, they did not allow me to be on SmackDown last week to tell my side of the story. I'm giving WWE until Friday to give me the time. We saw Saturday night, we saw the footage, the security footage that was leaked to the media of the attack where Kevin Owens hit Randy Orton first, drew first blood, attacked him from behind after they had a shouting match on SmackDown last week when Kevin Owens was kicked out of the building. He was not allowed in the building tonight. And KO cut a really great promo here, SP3, because I love the fact that, one, he was still keeping up his Deadpool routine where he is just calling out WWE tropes. And he's sitting here saying, you're not going to allow me back at SmackDown. But didn't even name anything specifically, but just said, look at the 40, 50-year history of dudes punching dudes and attacking dudes backstage. All he had to do was say NXT parking lot and look at the camera if he really wanted to. Look at all the heinous stuff that people have done. But I attacked your golden boy in front of a bus, and I'm not allowed back in the building. He feels disrespected. He feels that he is not valued, which really plays into the whole contract situation that Kevin Owens is playing very, very coy with. He's being very secretive. There's a lot of people who believe that he is quietly re-signed, but as far as we know definitively, his contract is up in January, February of next year. So now they're going to start playing into those and kind of put a more real life spin on this whole situation. I thought Kevin Owens did some really, really good work here, SP3.
It was very natural. It was very natural. It just seemed like he set the camera up. He was just talking to the fans. It was good. It was very good. Very believable.
Superb promo work by Kevin Owens. And yes, he's the most logical character. Heel, babyface, it does not matter. He uses the WWE logic and he uses it to help his character. And I like how he tried to play victim where he was like, I can get over all of that, but Randy Orton choosing Cody Rhodes over me, picking sides, is what really pisses me off. And now you're seeing that his fire, his fury is aimed at Orton for now until Cody is freed up and they can feud over the WWE Championship.
And he's not going anywhere. You know, people are commenting, you know, AEW, etc. Kevin Owens is going to stay with WWE. He's got a great thing going there, and he's not going to let them go.
I don't at this point right now, and I'm not just going off of the Wrestle Votes and the Meltzer reporting. It just feels like they've got something really cooking with him in the long term, and depending on where this goes, I mean, hell, you might have. I already saw people on Twitter tonight saying Kevin Owens should be the guy who takes the belt off of Cody Rhodes at some point down the line. So we'll see if more people start jumping on that bandwagon down there. I'm not there yet. SP3.
I'm not there yet either. I love Kevin Owens. I wouldn't mind it. I would be happy if it happens. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, there's a lot
Kevin and Randy Orton probably at Crown Jewel at this point.
I hope.
And we saw Randy Orton backstage. He wanted a piece of Kevin Owens. He talked to Nick Aldis about it. Nick Aldis said, I can't give it to you. The order is coming from on high, which means we're going to get an Evolution segment at some point. We're going to get Randy coming up to Triple H being like, dog.
Yep.
Give me Kevin Owens at Crown Jewel. And then I don't know, maybe we'll get Batista coming in and saying, give me what I want. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Our next triple threat tag team match, it was A-Town Down Under, Los Garza, and the WWE debut of the Motor City Machine Guns, 2 decades in the making. We all knew when they put out that video on social media earlier announcing that the Motor City Machine Guns had officially signed, because it was still a mystery up until the start of the show at this point. But they wanted to promote the fact that they were going to be having these number one contenders tournament matches. We knew the Machine Guns were going to win this match. There was no way they were going to lose this match. So it all came down to presentation, how they booked the debut, how everything went down. Again, commercial breaks are what they are. Middle of the match, that kind of irked me here a little bit. But Bill, Machine Guns
got murdered. They got murdered until the end. This was not the way to bring them in this format. I thought they were okay, but the minute the bell rang, I forgot if it was Sabin or his partner, but they were getting murdered the whole time. They were maybe up 25% of the match. I thought it was a very not good debut. They should have put them in just a separate tag team match against another team. This was not the right way to bring them in. Spectacular win, but during most of the match, they were not able to showcase what brought them to the dance, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think they looked as awesome as they could have.
Bill Apter is spitting here. That's why he's one of the OGs of wrestling. I mean, he knows his stuff. I thought this was, I was honestly shocked. I've been shocked since like 5 p.m. How the hell did they have their debut on a digital exclusive? I didn't understand that. I didn't even understand that. Putting that out there. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, everybody knew it was the Motor City Machine Guns anywhere. But you presented this so well. You did the vignettes. Aldis said he had a handpicked team. You were scared people didn't know who the Motor City Machine Guns were? And then you put them in a 3-way where, yes, Bill is right. They took like 25% of the matchup. They had a little dive at the beginning, went to commercial. They get beat up when we come back from commercial, and then they hit like 3-4 moves and they get the win. Good win. I'm glad they won. I'm glad that next week they're facing DIY, but this was so un-WWE how they presented the Machine Guns, from debuting them on a digital freaking exclusive on social media to how they wrestled this match.
It's almost like the other guys.
I was blown away.
It's almost like the other teams were like, you got to pay your dues.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
WWE said you got to pay your dues. Like, okay, cool, you have a 20-year career, that's nice, but this is WWE. You're in the big leagues now,
yeah.
boys.
The commentary made them seem like they're real old timers. Well, they were like the innovators of things for wrestling, for tag team wrestling from years back and all that. It didn't paint them to be what the digital and all the promos painted them to be tonight. And I wanted to see them really excel during the whole match. But at the very beginning, when they were getting killed at the beginning, I was like, what are they doing with these guys? Rick, do you not agree with this?
Sorry, I didn't realize my mic was on mute on that. No, I was a little disappointed in that. I was hoping to see more out of them. But tonight it kind of it felt like WWE's goal was to give us an appetizer and then to give us the full meal next week in a one-on-one matchup with DIY, which Johnny Gargano does have history with both of those guys. Tommaso Ciampa has never faced the Motor City Machine Guns. So I do think that this was a very smart next matchup to book for them. And hopefully next week on SmackDown, they get a little bit more time and most of it's not on a commercial break. Honestly, that commercial break took me out of it, to be completely honest with you, right in the middle.
Fair. And for anyone who's not aware, when Rick says Johnny Gargano has history with them, Johnny Gargano took about 80% of his moves from Alex Shelley. So I'll be the one to say it. I'll be the one to say it.
Damn,
80% of his offense is what Alex Shelley was doing.
Here's my question to both.
I just meant they wrestled a lot, like that's all I was talking about. Damn.
Here's my question to both of you. Does their performance tonight make you want to come back next week and go, oh man, that match is going to be great with the four of them? Or is it going to be like, they did okay, it's going to be an average match?
Yeah, it really was like it was, and it was also the crowd, because I felt like the crowd actually gave them a response when they had the big entrances with the pyro, and then during the matchup when they finally got some offense, it didn't feel like the crowd was with them 100%. I'm hoping that Brooklyn is a different crowd. DIY has great performances in Brooklyn, and New York is always known for having the hardcore wrestling fans that will know about the Motor City Machine Gun. So I do agree with Rick. I'm hoping next week is like the real big showcase for these guys.
Did you notice during the middle of the match, though, Chris Sabin stopped and started doing this to the fans, like, react.
Yeah, like, where you at? Where you at?
Right.
There was a lot of fist pumping, like trying to get the crowd back into it in that one as well. The last thing that we haven't talked about is the women's tag team match that came after this. This was fine, but this one was surprising in the sense that Candice LeRae won the match and she pinned Bayley to do it. My mouth almost hit the desk. I was that surprised. Like, I was excited to see Candice and Bayley get to mix it up, and I was hoping that they'd get to cook a little bit because they have history with one another. Bayley has gone on record saying Candice was one of her first inspirations in the wrestling business coming up in Southern California. Like, she has always gone out of her way to put Candice over anytime she can. And tonight she put her money where her mouth is. She put Candice LeRae over in this match. Holy, please, God, Jesus, can this lead to something here, guys? Because Naomi is obviously being set up as the next challenger to Nia Jax. She didn't get hurt in this match, but is there hope that maybe they have something in the works for Bayley, and maybe now they can build off of this with Candice LeRae? Because yes, she's the speed champion, but ever since she came back to WWE, they've done nothing with her on the main roster.
Well, this is their opportunity to do it now, based upon what they did tonight. Yeah.
I'm hoping. SP3, should I have hope?
No, I think it's going to be a TV feud where they have like 8-minute matches.
I'll take it. It's better than
it's better
than nothing. It's better than nothing. SP3, if there's one thing he's going to be, it's brutally honest. That's for damn
sure. Johnny Gargano. I'm sorry, Johnny. I love you. I love you, Johnny Gargano.
Oh my goodness. All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Short and sweet tonight. Bill, we appreciate you stopping by. We don't know if you'll be with us next week, but hey, I'm sure we'll do it.
Let's hope Dutch gets gets better with everything that's going on with him. If not, I would love to be back here. Can you both do me a favor since I'm here?
Yeah.
Acknowledge me.
We acknowledge you, Apter.
Apter. Thank you. You got it. It worked.
Damn. SP3, what you got going on True Hill Heat this weekend?
True Hill Heat flagship podcast tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be talking about this week in wrestling, AEW Wrestle Dream, New Japan Pro Wrestling, King of Pro Wrestling, Zack Sabre Jr., new champion over there. So we'll be talking about it. Join us live, talking some WWE as well. Professor Chris, Scott E. Wrestling will be there with me tomorrow. So check it out. And check out my interview with Sami Callihan right now. That's on the channel.
Great guy. Great
David
guy.
asking real quick, how come no Michael Cole announcing tonight? I don't know. They said he was on special assignment.
Special assignment.
Special assignment. But this is only like the 4th show he's missed in like 25 years. Like,
yeah,
man can take a night off every now and again. He's earned it. All right, guys. Hopefully we'll be back in some iteration of a panel next week here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Facebook page and the Wrestle Binge by Sportskeeda YouTube channel.
And by the way, don't forget Patreon Backstage Pass. Incredible content. Go to Sportskeeda, look up Backstage Pass. There's stuff with me, Jerry Briscoe, and JBL. There's such great content on there. Bro, Vince Russo is on there. Just some absolutely fabulous content. Backstage Pass. Look it up.
All right. You can follow me on X, by the way, right here, name listed. Get all my work for Sports Illustrated. See you guys. Bye.